Hello, everyone. I know it's been a while since I've get in touch with you here on the Mixologist Soul System launch, but now I'm back and I've got some interesting topics to share with you and get you into the food for thought mood. I know it has been taking a while, not because I have nothing to say, because I do. I have lots to say, but the key is saying something of significance to you. Over the past few months, I've met some incredible people who've provided indescribable knowledge that will benefit me for a lifetime, I'm sure. I've had mind-blowing conversations with people who, in the midst of our talk, drop tiny nuggets of knowledge that will last a lifetime. And what did I glean from all this? The realization that everyone is in every circumstance has a chance to learn or to teach. It only requires that we be still for a moment. Be still and know. Know that you have the opportunity to change a life, for instance, now. Or should I say, affect someone's life every moment of the day. The challenge is realizing this, accepting it as a responsibility we all have, and then taking action. Just what is action? I'd rather say it's smiling and saying good morning in an elevator to a total stranger and really meaning it when you ask them how they are doing. It could be also seeing someone looking a little stressed and just leaning over and whispering to them, "It get better." Just count it all joy. It's trying to see the positive even in the most darkest of times and smiling because God's got it. It's being a true friend by simply listening without sharing opinion or advice, just having the open heart and the open ear too when someone needs it the most. None of these require any special skills or training, we know that, but just a realization that it takes the simple effort of being still for a moment to really see, to really hear, to really care. I know it works because at various points in time in my life, there have been very key people who just took a moment to be still with me. It's those moments when we pump the brakes on our very fast-paced lives that we see, learn and feel the most wonderful of things and affect lives the most. Okay. Before giving you my 2 tips of the day, I'd just like to remind you what's Mixologist Soul System. Our payoff, you already know that offhead, I'm sure, is inspiring, empowering, mentoring, and valuing the mixed world tribe. As I've always said, the Mixologist Soul System is a podcast, a voicemail and written experience that follows hand to hand, heart to heart, mind to mind, and soul to soul my mixed tribe blog called Métissage Sangue Misto. Let's call this mentorship series of Cuddle for the souls that inspires, empowers, supports, encourages, and connects the potential hidden in the multitudes and differences of the global mixed people tribe. It's meant to encourage the right and optimal mindset and overcome fears with the aim to make the most of our abilities and gifts. I could rather say also that the Mixology Soul System's mission is to build inclusive and confident mixed leaders who engage in experiences that positively impact our ever-changing world by interacting service, learning, and leadership into all experiences. There are several steps that you should take to achieve the right mindset and to be fearless. The steps will help you have an aligned mind as well as prepare you temperamentally, tactically, and technologically. First of all, it is important to identify destructive thoughts immediately when they enter your mind. Once you have identified the negative thoughts, you should pause and reset them so that they will not interfere with your mindset. You will need to fill the void left by the destructive thoughts with a new constructive thought of idea. If you want to maintain control of your mind and keep a mindset primed for fearlessness, you will need to use mental exercises and rituals to reinforce a series, of constructive thoughts. Right? So at the end, you must recognize your strengths and weaknesses and maximize your potential. Very important, you should surround yourself with people who constantly change and better challenge you. You need to seek multiple options and be willing to listen when others give their views. An open door policy will help you to gather diverse opinions from different people. And finally, and probably most importantly, you should set aside time for self-reflection to internalize different opinions and channel them toward growth and development. Be positive, involving others, sharing ideas and making connections. And I could say that today I'd like to give you some new stimuli about what it means judging others and getting what we want in life. To acknowledge that we have judged and why is the first step to a path of compassion. Though it is human to evaluate people we encounter based on first impressions, isn't it so? And the conclusions we come to are seldom unaffected by our own fears and our own preconceptions. Additionally, our judgments are frequently incomplete. Let's say, for example, now wealth can seem like proof that an individual is spoiled, and poverty can be seen as a signifier of laziness, neither of which may be true. At the heart of the tendency to categorize and criticize, we often find insecurity. Overcoming our need to set ourselves apart from what we fear is a matter of understanding the root of judgment and then reaffirming our commitment to tolerance. When we catch ourselves thinking of behaving judgmentally, we should ask ourselves where these judgments come from. Traits we hope we do not possess can instigate our criticism when we see them in others because passing judgment distances us from those traits. Once we regain our center, we can reinforce our open-mindedness, but putting our feelings into words, to acknowledge to ourselves that we have judged and that we have identified the root of our judgments is the first step to a path of compassion. Recognizing that we limit our awareness by assessing others critically can make moving past our initial impressions much easier. Judgments seldom leave room for alternate possibilities. I'd like to recall what Mother Teresa said. She once said that if you judge people, you don't have time to love them. So if we are quick to pass judgment on others, we forget that they, like us, are human beings, as we seldom know what roads people have traveled before a shared encounter or why they have come into our lives. We should always give those we meet the gift of an open heart. Doing so allows us to replace fear-based criticism with appreciation because we can then focus wholeheartedly on the spark of good that burns in all human souls. Um, Going apart from this topic, I would like to add another very interesting point. And many of us often, not always, we try to think how to get what we want. If we aren't clear about what we want in life, it won't be able to find us right. The best way to get what we want from life is to first know what we want. If we haven't taken the time to really understand and identify what would truly make us happy, we won't be able to ask from those around us or from the universe. We may not even be able to recognize it once it arrives. Have you ever thought about that? Once we are clear about what we want, we can communicate it to those around us. Why not? When we can be honest about who we are and what we want, there is no need to demand, be rude or aggressive, or manipulate others that are involved in helping us get what we want. Instead, pay attention what I'm going to tell you. We know that we are transmitting a signal on the right frequency to bring all that we desire into our experience. As the world evolves, humanity is learning to walk from the hurt. We may have been taught that the way to get what we want is to follow certain rules, play particular games, or even engage in acts that use less than our highest integrity. The only rules we need to apply are those of intention and connection. Remember that. Intention and connection. In terms of energy, we can see that it takes a lot of energy to keep up a false front or act in a way that is counter to our true nature. But much less energy is expended when we can just be and enjoy connections that energize us in return. Then our energy can be directed toward living the life we want right now. So we must remember that society has certain expectations of behavior and the rules each of us should play. But as spiritual beings, we are not bound on these superficial structures unless we choose to accept them, of course. Instead, we can listen to our hearts and follow what we know to be true and meaningful for us. In doing so, we will find others who have chosen the same path. It can be easy to get caught up in following goals that appear to be what we want. But when we pursue the underlying value, we are certain to stay on our right path and continue to feed our soul. That is the most important thing. So this is all for today. I'm Dawn, and I wish to see you and meet you the next time. And maybe you can just drop a feedback on what you have heard today and get some beautiful and deep thoughts and share it with me. Why not? Have a nice day, everyone.